Have you ever looked around and wondered why so many people, despite their potential, seem to just stay average? They have dreams, they have goals, but something holds them back from truly exceptional results. What if I told you the answer isn't a lack of talent or opportunity, but a set of invisible scripts running in the background of their lives? Today, we're going to decode these scripts, because understanding them is the first step to rewriting your own. Most people believe that average outcomes are the result of average effort. They think if they just work a little harder, things will change. But here's what nobody tells you. It's not about working harder. It's about breaking the patterns that keep you comfortable. These patterns are so ingrained in our daily lives that we don't even notice them. They are the silent architects of an average life. One of the biggest culprits is our deep-seated need for certainty. Our brains are wired to seek safety and predictability. Following a familiar routine feels secure. It minimizes stress and cognitive load. But this very comfort zone is also a cage. Growth, by its very nature, lives in the realm of uncertainty. Trying a new skill, starting a business, speaking in public, these things are scary because the outcome is unknown. The average person feels that fear and retreats. The exceptional person feels that fear and leans into it, understanding that discomfort is the price of admission for growth. Another powerful force is the echo chamber of our environment. The people we surround ourselves with, the content we consume, the community we belong to, they all set our normal meter. If everyone in your circle prioritizes stability over ambition, complains about problems instead of solving them, and views success with suspicion, their mindset will seep into your own. It's a psychological phenomenon known as social proof. We unconsciously adjust our own beliefs and behaviors to align with the group. This is where most people fail. They don't consciously curate their environment. They passively absorb the attitudes around them, allowing the average expectations of the group to become their own personal ceiling. Breaking free requires intentionally seeking out people and ideas that challenge your current reality and expand your definition of what is possible. Think about the last time you were really excited about a new project. You dove in headfirst, full of energy. But after a few weeks, the initial excitement faded and the daily grind set in. This is where the shiny object syndrome takes over for many. We live in an age of infinite distraction. Our attention is constantly being pulled in a dozen different directions. The average person jumps from one interest to another, never staying with one thing long enough to achieve mastery. They dabble in a dozen skills but excel at none. True, meaningful progress isn't born from fleeting bursts of passion. It's forged in the fires of sustained, focused effort over long periods. It's about choosing one or two things and dedicating yourself to them, even on the days you don't feel motivated. It's the consistency of this focused effort that separates the amateur from the master. The ability to delay gratification and stick with the process when it becomes boring or difficult is a superpower in today's world. Let's talk about the perception of failure. For most people, failure is a final verdict. It's a painful, embarrassing event that signals they should stop and try something else. This is a deeply flawed perspective. Exceptional individuals view failure not as an endpoint, but as data. It's feedback. When an experiment in a lab doesn't work, a scientist doesn't quit science. They analyze the data, form a new hypothesis, and run a new experiment. This is the exact mindset needed for personal growth. Every failure is simply a lesson in what doesn't work, bringing you one step closer to what does. The fear of being judged for failing keeps so many people from even trying. They'd rather guarantee an average outcome by playing it safe than risk a public failure in pursuit of an exceptional one. To escape this trap, you must redefine your relationship with failure. See it as an essential part of the learning process, a stepping stone, not a stumbling block. Another subtle trap is the illusion of action. Many people are busy, but not productive. They spend their days answering emails, attending meetings, and ticking off minor tasks on their to-do list. They feel like they're working hard, but they aren't actually moving the needle on their most important goals. This is because it's easier to focus on the urgent rather than the important. The important tasks, the ones that lead to real growth and breakthroughs, are often complex, ambiguous, and require deep, uninterrupted focus. They don't provide the instant gratification of checking off a small task. So, people procrastinate on them by filling their time with busyness. The key is to differentiate between motion and progress. Are your daily actions simply keeping you busy, or are they strategically moving you closer to where you want to be in 5 years? Prioritizing even 1 hour of deep, focused work on your most important goal each day will produce more results than 8 hours of distracted, shallow work. Now, consider the power of self-narrative. The story you tell yourself about yourself is the most important story you'll ever hear. An average person's internal monologue is often filled with self-limiting beliefs. I'm not smart enough for that. I'm not a natural leader. People like me don't succeed in that field. These aren't objective truths. They are stories. And these stories become self-fulfilling prophecies. If you believe you are not capable, you won't take the actions required to become capable, which then reinforces your original belief. It's a closed loop. Breaking this cycle requires a conscious effort to challenge your own narrative. You have to become the gatekeeper of your own mind, questioning negative thoughts and actively replacing them with a more empowering story. It's not about blind optimism. It's about giving yourself permission to grow beyond your past identity. Your identity is not fixed. It is something you build with every choice you make. Finally, we arrive at the most foundational pattern of all. The final one changes everything. It's the subtle but profound difference between being a consumer and a creator. The vast majority of people spend their free time consuming. They consume social media, they consume streaming shows, they consume news, they consume products. There is nothing inherently wrong with consumption, but when it becomes your default mode of being, you remain a passive spectator in life. Exceptional outcomes are almost always a result of creation. Creating a business, creating art, creating a solution to a problem, creating a community, creating a healthier body. Creation is an active process. It forces you to learn, to problem solve, to take risks, and to bring something new into the world. It shifts you from being a passenger to being the driver of your own life. The simple act of shifting even a small portion of your time from consumption to creation can have a radical impact. Instead of scrolling for an hour, spend that hour writing, learning to code, or developing a new skill. This small change in orientation from passive consumer to active creator is the ultimate leverage point for breaking out of the average and building an extraordinary life. Silent leverage. Subscribe for more.